Good morning. In addition to Flower Communion Sunday, it is RE Celebration Sunday. Some of you know that once upon a time, I had a crippling stage fright. This thing that I'm doing right this very minute, still for me one of the most challenging parts of my job, was once upon a time something inconceivable to me. When I returned to church life after a break as a young adult, now with a little one in tow, I was a proofreader looking to become an editor, a field I had chosen specifically because it did not involve standing up in front of people. One day I will tell you a story about the origins of those fears, but today my task is to tell you about how they changed for me. My daughter Marjorie was 3 years old when I joined the Elgin Church, and when their director of religious education came to me to ask whether I would teach in the program, she assured me that there would be no standing up in front, that we would all sit in a circle. Because a couple of the senior high youth had sort of latched on to me, the DRE asked me whether I would teach that grade level. And because I knew that others had said yes to teaching my beloved daughter, though I was covered in anxiety, I said yes. I spent a few years with that crew of teens, and here's what I learned: that teaching, at least in this way, is not about public speaking. It's about relationship building. From that point on, called to teaching, I entered grad school and eventually got my doctorate and became a college professor. And I have always understood that I answered that call because teaching Sunday school taught me that I could. Now, I don't know just what challenges our teachers this year have faced down in order to be our children's spiritual guides, and I don't know just how they've been changed, but I do know this: they have faced challenges and they have been changed. You don't get out of bed on a Sunday morning to talk with children about their spiritual lives without facing challenges and being changed by the experience. I know it, you know it, and our children know it. Believe me, when adults take time and energy to put themselves into relationship with children and help them to cultivate their best selves, children know and appreciate this. Our nursery staff, Julia Ash and Lane Diamant, help our littlest UUs and their parents to feel more comfortable in our community through their skilled and gentle care. Learning that they can spend time with their peers and other trusted adults just a little distance from their parents and guardians is one of the most fundamental spiritual lessons we can offer our young people. And I am grateful for the steadfast care offered by Julia and Lane. Please thank them with me. For preschool through 5th grade this year, our curricula have, in age-appropriate ways, centered on the first of our UU principles, the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. Or as we say to our young people, each and every person is important. Our staff teachers, Kit Barron and Virginia Bahena, help our pre-kindergartners learn about themselves and other people and about how people are different and alike through the storybook series and creative play in their curriculum. I am grateful that Kit and Virginia bring to bear their arts education training and Montessori background in working with our children, and the proof of their skill and caring often shows at the end of class time when parents come to retrieve their small ones and they aren't quite ready to go. This is what we call a good problem. Please join me in thanking Kit and Virginia. Our nursery staff and pre-kindergarten staffers are not with us in the sanctuary this morning because they are working downstairs as usual. So please, let us show our thanks to them today as we head down to retrieve our kids or when we see them in the buffet line at the picnic today. We are so lucky to have them on our team. Yes, if you feel like clapping out loud, it's fine with me. I just don't want to do it in front of the microphone. Also focusing on the first principle this year, our kindergarten and first and second graders who self-elected to call themselves Mr. Babyhead as a team. Mr. Babyhead, I don't know why. This is an unexplained mystery, and yet we support it. Have developed a shared sense of belonging in the classroom, learning about how our thoughts, feelings, and observations and those of our peers, families, and communities are important through a storybook series and related creative activities. Our wonderful volunteer teachers for this grade level have been Dan Lawrence, Linda Harriet, Kate Poole, and Terrence Seawright at 9:15, and at 11, Rochelle Books, Ava Campisi, Christina Habib, Janice Milanovic, Ruth Orm Johnson, and Janine Smith. With special thanks to their coordinator, Linda Harriet, please join me in thanking these wonderful teachers. Our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, also known as Team Sparks, have been engaged in learning about what they themselves and others around them think, feel, and believe through Heart Talk curriculum, a curriculum in nonviolent communication, and through the Windows and Mirrors curriculum. Their exhibit this year features the panels they've been working on throughout the year, which are meant to offer a mirror to themselves and a window to others about what they believe and value. Their awesome teachers at 9:15 are Chris Chambers, Will Kurth, Sarah Monska, and Jordan Struber, and at 11, Julie Bernstein, Vicki Dobley, Kamran Jahanshani, Susan Talmadge, Carolyn Topek, with special thanks to their coordinator, Susan Comstock. Please join me in thanking these wonderful teachers. Our junior high students this year were engaged in the Building Bridges curriculum, where they studied the beliefs and practices of, were visited by practitioners of, and visited the places of worship of other faiths in our community, including Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Islam, neo-paganism, and various kinds of Christianity. Their wonderful teachers were Leanne Lauder, Bob Mesley, George Monacle, and Winnie Stevenson, with special thanks to their coordinator, Jim Strickland. Please join me in thanking these fantastic teachers. Our senior high youth group met every Sunday for self-discovery through weekly ritual practices and conversation. They were also sometimes themselves RE assistants to the other grades, assisting with special projects such as the Easter egg coloring and hunting and crafting the altar cloth for Brett. In addition, they attended the fall and spring regional UU-Cons to get to know their peers in faith from other congregations. Their end-of-the-year exhibit project was, of course, their beautiful youth-led worship service. Their wonderful advisors were Mike Takata, Amy Pooley, Allie Hunter, and Valerie Curtis, coordinated by the amazing Chris Allender. Please join me in thanking these wonderful advisors. We also this year offered the Our Whole Lives, or OWL, sexuality education curriculum at the junior high level. Our certified OWL instructors this year were Kira Beskin, Dana Dean, Liz Goodwin, and with special thanks to coordinator Mike Takata. Please join me in thanking these amazing teachers. And as your director of Lifespan Religious Education, I also want to acknowledge our teachers for the Tuesday night series this year. John Tobin, Reverend Jerry Stone, Dan Solomon, Reverend Brett Lorty, the Real Team, the Congregational Relations Team, Tom Tickner, Terrence Seawright, Susan Francis, Dick Whitaker, and Julia Takarada, as well as our outgoing Cracker Barrel facilitators, Gordon Mallett and Scott Campbell. Please join me in thanking them for the richness of our weekly discussion series this year. And while I'm at it, I'd like to thank my organizational teams. The Children and Youth Program team, with special thanks to Chair Chris Allender. Their Learning Associates team, with special thanks to our coordinator, Dan Solomon. And finally, thanks go to our awesome UCE Lifespan Learning Council. Chris Allender, Rochelle Brooks, Jean Durkin, Rob Geiger, Linda Harriet, Sue Larson, George Monacle, Dan Solomon, Jessica Tomel Presto, and Dick Whitaker, with special thanks to our board liaisons, Jim Clark, Carrie Heckman, and George Monacle. Thank you so much for the work we've done together and for your support of my own learning as DLRE this year. I appreciate you all truly from the bottom of my heart. And Margaret O'Connell, you are not in, I think she's not in the room at the moment, but let me just say, where would I be? Where would I be without you, Margaret? And where would all of us be without you? I thank my lucky stars for you every day. Please join me in thanking her when you see her and also at this very moment. Thank you, Margaret. On a Sunday morning way back in January, that now seems in some ways like a lifetime ago, Jean Durkin led our children in a conversation about their religious education teachers. She asked them what they were learning about and talking about with their teachers, and she talked with them about how their teachers were there to help them understand and navigate the world. She asked them to recall what they see when they look out over Lake Michigan, water and sky, and where they come together. And we talked about how some days it was hard to tell the difference. We acknowledged that that line where they meet, earth and sky, is called the horizon. And Jean helped them to see that their teachers were here not just to help them think about what lies between themselves and that horizon, but also what lies beyond it. Then Jean talked about how we could represent the horizon on the chalices we were making that day for our religious education teachers, in appreciation for their time with us. Our teachers give us the world, don't they? Said Jean. Let's give it back to them as a way of saying thanks. Teachers, the chalices our children have made for you are here on the altar. Please come forward now and choose one that pleases you, knowing that to the child who made it, it represents the world you have given them each Sunday. And thank you for your willingness to guide our children and to be transformed by your relationship with them. It means everything to me, to them, to our congregation, to our denomination, and our world. Thank you. Please come forward and select your chalice.